In a land torn by fear, where an enemy towered over every man's courage, God raised a boy, not a warrior, not a king, but a shepherd. This is the story of David. Courage in the face of giants. Before David ever stepped onto the battlefield, he was unknown. A young shepherd boy with a heart that beat after God's own heart. While others saw him as insignificant, God saw in him a king. Every day, David watched over his father's flock. He had no sword, no armor, only a sling, a staff, and an unshakable faith. When predators came a lion, a bear, David didn't run. He stood his ground. He learned courage not in the palace, but in the pasture, not in war, but in worship. Sometimes God trains us in places no one sees, so he can use us in places everyone will see. Meanwhile, the armies of Israel trembled. A giant named Goliath, over 9 feet tall, armored like iron, mocked them day after day. Soldiers who trained all their lives refused to face him. King Saul himself hid behind his throne. Fear paralyzed the nation, but courage was walking toward them in the form of a shepherd boy delivering bread. David reached the battlefield and heard the giants roar. Everyone else saw a monster. David saw a challenge to God's honor. His brothers mocked him. Soldiers dismissed him. Saul doubted him. But David declared, "The Lord who delivered me from the lion and the bear will deliver me from this Philistine." David was not confident in himself. He was confident in his God. David refused Saul's armor. He didn't need what man trusted. He needed what God had already given him. He walked into the valley with only a sling, 5 smooth stones, and an unshakable faith. Goliath laughed. David didn't. He said, "You come to me with a sword and spear, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts." David ran toward the giant, not away. 1 stone, 1 moment, 1 victory. Goliath fell, not because David was strong, but because God was stronger. David teaches us this truth. The size of your giant doesn't matter. What matters is the size of your faith. Your giant may be fear, it may be debt, sickness, temptation, insecurity, or loneliness. It may be a problem that has shouted at you day after day, but like David, you are not alone. The same God who strengthened a shepherd boy is the same God who stands with you today. David's victory didn't just defeat Goliath, it inspired a nation. It reminded Israel that God doesn't need a great warrior, he just needs a willing heart. David went on to become king, but his greatest crown was not made of gold. It was made of faith. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is trusting God even when the giant is still standing. Every one of us faces giants, but with God beside you, no giant is too big, no battle is too great, and no fear is stronger than his power. This is the story of David, a boy who trusted God, a warrior who faced a giant, a king who lived by faith. May his story remind you, when God is with you, victory is already on your side.